air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good morning. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. A policy and political analysis warning that the country is nowhere near ready for election scheduled for December 2026 and that pushing ahead under current conditions could deepen instability rather than deliver democracy. President Salva Kiir has directed the newly appointed governor of Northern Bahar El Ghazal, Charles Dudakol, to go and restore calm, unity and political stability in the state. And the executive director of the Community Empowerment for Progress organization, Edmond Yakani, has called for the immediate implementation of the National Legislative Assembly's decision rejecting what it described as unlawful traffic regulations imposed by the Directorate of Traffic Police under the Ministry of Interior. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Lasuba Memo, and now the news in detail. A policy and political analyst is warning that the country is nowhere near ready for election scheduled for December 2026 and that pushing ahead under current conditions could deepen instability rather than deliver democracy. Boboya James, the Chief Executive Officer of the Institute of Social Policy in South Sudan, says holding credible elections in December 2026 is highly doubtful, citing insecurity, weak institutions, and a lack of national consensus. According to him, while elections may be technically possible on paper, the political and security environment makes free, fair, and peaceful polls unlikely. He said, and I quote, "Holding credible elections in December 2026 under the current political and security conditions is highly doubtful. The sensitive conditions for inclusive and peaceful elections are not yet in place. Defying these essential provisions risks producing election outcomes that lack legal legitimacy, public confidence, and national consensus." Boboya cites the insecurity in several regions, incomplete unification of forces, restrictions on political space, and weak institutional arrangements as major obstacles. He warns that elections conducted under these circumstances risk becoming procedural exercises rather than genuine democratic processes. The analyst also raised serious concerns about recent moves by some signatories to amend the 2018 Revitalized Peace Agreement and delay key pre-election benchmarks, including a population census, security sector reforms, and institutional restructuring. According to him, these benchmarks were not optional but were designed to ensure legitimacy, fair representation, and constitutional safeguards. He cautions that proceeding with elections without broad consultations, including the absence of key signatories such as the SPLM-IO faction, led by first Vice President Dr. Riek Machar, could deepen mistrust within the unity government and destabilize the fragile political arrangement in Juba. Boboya also questioned the government's logistical and financial capacity to conduct elections, stating the absence of updated voter registers, limited civic education, unpaid salaries, and ongoing humanitarian needs. He said without transparency and substantial donor support, organizing credible national elections would be extremely difficult. The analyst is calling for urgent, inclusive dialogue among all peace agreement signatories, along with reconciliation efforts to chart a clear and legitimate path toward democratic elections and an end to the transitional period. The government has yet to respond publicly to the public concerns raised as debate continues over whether South Sudan's long-awaited elections should proceed as planned. President Salva Kiir has directed the newly appointed governor of Northern Bahar El Ghazal state, Charles Dudakol, to go and restore calm, unity and political stability in the state. President Kiir was speaking during a swearing-in ceremony of the new governor at the State House on Wednesday. The president appealed to the people of Awil to rally behind the new governor in order to make the state a better place for all. The head of state reiterated his administration's commitment to supporting the state in addressing the challenges of security, governance, and service delivery. The executive director of the Community Empowerment for Progress organization has called for the immediate implementation of the National Legislative Assembly's decision rejecting what it described as unlawful traffic regulations imposed by the Directorate of Traffic Police under the Ministry of Interior. Edmond Yakane praised the leadership and members of parliament for taking a firm stand, saying some of the rules and regulations issued by the traffic police are outside the law and do not conform to international standards and best practices governing road use. He said in many countries, traffic regulations are designed to help citizens enjoy safe driving, but in South Sudan, recent measures appear to deviate from accepted global practices. Yakani argued that the growing number of traffic rules is aimed more at generating revenue than regulating road safety. The activists appealed directly to President Salva Kiir, saying citizens are increasingly intimidated, harassed, ambushed, and in some cases allegedly looted by traffic police officers. He said that the situation worsens during the Christmas season when new rules and regulations are frequently introduced. Yakani urged the presidency to act on Parliament's decision and ensure that all requirements of driving eligibility in South Sudan meet international standards. He said citizens are tired, stressed, and frustrated by what he described as continuous harassment, intimidation, and extortion by traffic police. He called for urgent action to address the complaints and protect the rights of motorists across the country. This is our Radio Morning News, and now to the international scene. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says his government will crack down on hate speech following Sunday's deadly shooting at Bondi Beach that targeted a Jewish festival. 15 people were killed when 2 gunmen opened fire at an event to mark the first day of Hanukkah. New laws will target those who spread hate, division, and radicalization. Albanese has told reporters in Canberra. The Home Affairs Minister will also be given new powers to cancel or refuse visas for those who spread hate, and a new task force will be set up to ensure the education system prevents, tackles, and properly respond to anti-Semitism. And South Africa has accused the U.S. of using Kenyan nationals without work permits at a facility processing applications by white South Africans for refuge status. A statement from South Africa's Department of Home Affairs said 7 Kenyans were arrested after intelligence reports revealed that people had recently entered South Africa on tourist visas and had illegally taken up work at the center. South Africa says the Kenyan nationals arrested in Tuesday's raid will now be deported and will be banned from entering the country for 5 years. Washington accused South Africa of interference in its efforts to admit white Afrikaners as refugees in a response issued to Agence France Presse. The U.S. is offering asylum status to Afrikaners as it says the community is facing persecution. South Africa's government has rejected the claims. This is our Radio Morning News, and to end this bulletin, here's a recap of the headlines. A policy and political analyst is warning that the country is nowhere near ready for elections scheduled for December 2026, and that pushing ahead under current conditions could deepen instability rather than deliver democracy. President Salva Kiir has directed the newly appointed governor of Northern Bahar El Ghazal State, Charles Duda Call, to go and restore calm, unity, and political stability in the state. And the Executive Director of the Community Empowerment for Progress organization has called for the immediate implementation of the National Legislative Assembly's decision rejecting what it described as unlawful traffic regulations imposed by the Directorate of Traffic Police under the Ministry of Interior. That's the end of iRadio Morning News. If there is a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message at +211 925 287870. It's also a WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 8 o'clock. I'm Lasuba Memo. Thank you for listening.